We got some tough news via the Montreal Canadiens as in practice today, Juraj Slafkovsky has been bumped off of the first line. As you can see here, go follow Habs Digest on Twitter or X if you haven't already, but this is via the Montreal Canadiens website. They did a little update on their practice today, and as we can see, they've changed the lines. We got Cole Caufield, Nick Suzuki, and Josh Anderson together again. That line that a lot of us dreaded seeing for big chunks of last year and even a bit the year before. We have Slav down with Monahan and Armia. It's a line that we've seen before. Slafkovsky with Monahan and Armia makes sense, I guess, in a vacuum. You know, Monahan and Slav have some decent chemistry. It'd be nice to see them together. Armia has been playing a little better as of late, but at the same time, I can't help but be disappointed to see Slav off of the first line, and I'm sure a lot of you guys agree. Having him on the second line, even though it's with Monahan and Armia, it means probably a little less ice time, and I don't know if this means anything for the power play either. But to be fair, this was a bit of a weird practice, so we'll just have to wait and see for the next game. But as of right now, it's a little worrying. But like I said, this could just be, you know, the Montreal Canadiens, like Marty St. Louis said, juggling lines without a fourth center right now. Of course, we saw Raphael Harvey-Pinard play fourth line center in the last game against the Ottawa Senators until in the third period, Nick Suzuki was sort of the de facto fourth line center as he was, well, not even fourth line, he was just double shifting. But we saw today in practice, Pezzetta, Pearson, Waugh, and Ullinen were all kind of alternating on different trios as Matheson and Savard had a bit of a rest day. So there were some wingers kind of cycling in and out here and there, which gives me some hope that these aren't the permanent lines and they were just testing it for practice. But we saw Suzuki, Caufield, Anderson at the end of that game versus Ottawa, and it's a line we've seen before. And maybe Marty St. Louis not happy with the production, which I don't really understand because Caufield had, before last night, 5 points in his 5 games, before 5 goals in 5 games before that. He's continued his point streak. I think is now 6 or 7 games point streak. So that first line was working. Yeah, they didn't have the greatest last 2 games, and Slav wasn't, you know, all over the puck like he usually is, but I don't really see the need for a change of him off the first line at this point. I think a lot of Habs fans thought, this is the line we have going forward, and you got to think Slav is a little upset with this, even if it's just practice. Again, maybe Marty St. Louis, this is what I'm hoping for, right? I'm hoping Marty St. Louis said, let's just test some things in practice. We're kind of messing around with different lines, different centers, so maybe next game, Slav, you'll have to play a bit with Monahan and Armia. You know, maybe Suzuki's going to get a little more tired, he has more double shifts, whatever, I don't know. But at the same time, I can't help but be a little disappointed. This first line, since they've been put together, has been a very, very good line, and even among other first lines in the NHL, it's not been that bad. Like, it's been pretty comparable to some other very solid first lines in the NHL. Slafkovsky's advanced metrics have been very, very good, and, you know, we've seen him on the first power play, of course. We've seen Caufield start to go on point streaks. Suzuki, like, these 3 guys have played their best hockey of the season, and for Slafkovsky of his career when they've played together. It's a little reminiscent of when we saw Suzuki, Caufield, and Dach together at the beginning of last season when these 3 guys were all on pace for 60, 70 points, if not more, and they were playing the best hockey of their season together. And Slafkovsky gives that kind of nice playmaking, that size benefit on that line, and I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know, Josh Anderson has slightly improved as a playmaker this year, though he's been out with injuries, trying to get back to himself, and maybe Marty St. Louis wants to see Anderson get a bit more confidence, which I also kind of understand, because when you look at it from this perspective, Slafkovsky, when playing with worse line mates, he kind of struggled. Like, he didn't look as confident in himself. We saw Arber Xhekaj struggling a little, well, not so much with his confidence, I'd say more other things, but even Justin Barron, one thing Marty St. Louis just said after they sent him down, he said Barron was struggling a bit with his confidence. They sent him to the AHL to develop his game. When Slav was struggling, they put him on the first line with good players, and his confidence jolted up. With Josh Anderson, he hasn't had that chance to play with Suzuki and Caufield in a while, of course, 1, because he's been out with injury, 2, that line just hasn't really worked. Maybe Marty just wants these guys to get that vote of confidence, especially after some bad games. You know, you'd also maybe see some fans saying, hey, look, after 3 bad games in a row, you got to make some shakeups. I just don't think this is the shakeup anyone was looking for. I don't think any Habs fan was saying, let's bump Slafkovsky off that first line because it's been working really, really well with him. And in the past, again, like I've said, the Anderson, Suzuki, Caufield line has not worked. Their advanced stats have not been good, right? Yeah, you see Suzuki and Caufield producing points when they've played a bit with Anderson, but if you look into the underlying things, a lot of them have been on the power play. So anyway, there's a lot to discuss here. Hopefully for next game, they don't stick with this, and I'm sure we'll be discussing this in a future video with myself and Jesse, but for now, that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're going for 15,000 subs. I really hope you stick around for the ride. I've been your host, Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next one.